Y'all, therapy has made me OP. Therapy has made me so powerful. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Jacob, and welcome back to Sunday Yap Session, the show where every Sunday I hop on here and yap at y'all about something with some sort of cohesive storyline, and sometimes we do better than others. And y'all, I'm feeling pretty good today. Feeling pretty good. I feel like last episode, it was a little ranty, I was a little complainy, which I needed, and I'm not saying it was bad or anything like that, but I'm feeling much better today, much more at peace with the world and the way things are today, and I'm feeling pretty chill. Today we are sipping on a limoncello LaCroix, which I've not revisited in a while. I don't know if I drink one of these in one of the videos or not, and it's the only thing that's in my fridge because I've been putting off ordering groceries for like a week and a half now, and the drink supply is slowly fading, so I need to get on that, and I need to get doing that soon. Before we get into it today, be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to yap with me every single Sunday, be sure to hit the subscribe button because I would really appreciate that. It really helps me out quite a bit. And without further ado, let's get yapping. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to talk about today, but earlier I went to therapy and I was kind of just thinking about my therapy journey. I don't know if we've talked about it like super deeply on here, but I've been going for about a year now, I think. And I kind of like look at my situations that I'm dealing with in my life right now as opposed to like how I would deal with them before. And y'all, therapy has made me OP. Therapy has made me so powerful, and if you are like debating whether or not you should go to therapy, definitely go because it has unlocked new powers within me, powers I forgot I had, and my ability to just like handle situations and express how I feel and like stand on my convictions and stuff has never been stronger. And especially if you're someone who is like a man or was raised as a man or like however you want to put it out, extra emphasis on going to therapy because I think like so many of the things we talk about are tied to like the ways in which men are conditioned and raised up in the world, and like things like suppressing your emotions or not expressing how you feel or feeling like you have to be the one to fix all your problems. I feel like all that and more is quite a bit of what we talk about and what we process. And now that I've kind of like knocked some of that down, y'all, girl, I'm getting too strong. Y'all better watch out. I've had some people lately that have like tried to play in my face and try to act wild and treat me in ways that they know they shouldn't. And before, I feel like I would kind of just like lay down and take it and just kind of be that people pleasing pushover that I've always sort of been for a lot of my life and just kind of roll with the punches or whatever. And now I'm just like, no, you're treating me poorly. Here's the behavior that needs to change if we're gonna engage further. Here's what you're doing that makes me uncomfortable. Here's what I don't like, blah, 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 blah. And I just like handle it now. That is not something that I've been able to do for like the vast majority of my life. And now that I'm doing it, I kind of look back at all of these like previous situations that I've been in. Sometimes I wish I could go back in time now with like the perspective I have. Cause I'm like, dang, there are so many things that I experienced and so many things that I went through where if I had been more like assertive and more decisive and more like confident and standing on kind of who I am and what I value, I would have been able to get through some other things a lot smoother and not had to suffer as long. But no need to linger in the past because we're doing better now. We're more powerful than ever. And that combined with me like starting to work out and trying to get beefier, y'all, girl, I'm about to be a threat. I'm about to be big in mind, big in fortitude, and big in body. And y'all about to be gagged. And I know too that like therapy is not like a universally great experience for everybody. I know that some people have had really horrible experiences. And in a lot of cases, some people's therapists have like done more trauma than they've done repairing anything. So I would say if you're considering going to therapy, be sure to vet your therapist thoroughly. I was going through like so many people looking at their credentials, looking at the modalities that they use, looking at them too and just assessing if they seem like somebody I would get along with. Because my therapist right now, outside of therapy, and of course like we keep it strictly professional, but I feel like he's somebody I could be friends with. And that was something I really looked for when I was looking at therapists was, do you have the credentials to help me, number one? And two, am I going to be comfortable speaking with you? Are you someone who I feel like we align values wise? Are you someone who I feel like I would get along with if I wasn't paying you to like fix my problems essentially? And I've been very successful, fortunately, to find somebody who has been very helpful, very cool person, in line with my thinking, and also like gags me and checks me and does what he needs to do to make sure that I'm like improving and moving through situations and exploring how I feel and blah, 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 blah. So it's personally been a very fulfilling journey for me. And I was always someone who, especially growing up through like teenage years and stuff, always thought of myself as someone who could fix all of my problems and I didn't need to go to therapy. And if I just sat and contemplated how I felt and dwelled and lingered and spiraled more and more and kind of just dug through the slop that is the experiences I've been through, that I would be able to like fix all my problems. And spoiler, if you feel that way, you can't. You might be able to do a little bit. I definitely have gotten myself through a lot and I'm very grateful that I have been there for myself. But also there's only so much you can do. And I think that like around this time last year was kind of the point where I realized like, okay, I feel like I've done what I can do, and at this point I'm just kind of doing a disservice to myself to like not taking my mental health super seriously, especially when I have like the privilege and the access to be doing therapy, because that's like a whole other aspect of this as well. A lot of people just like can't afford it because it's expensive. But at a certain point it felt very silly, and it felt like, why am I like making myself suffer essentially when I can afford to like figure this out? And a year out now, I'm like, girl, thank you past me for finally getting into it and taking care of that. I could have benefited from doing this like so much earlier, and I would probably be so much happier. Granted, feeling very happy right now. A lot of it because I have been going to therapy, and kind of like I mentioned, I can handle things so much better now, and just like I'm making tweaks in my life now, having a more kind of clear perception of what I want and how I feel and things like that. I feel like I'm able to like navigate the world a lot better and navigate the world in a way that serves me and makes me happy, and I can kind of make the best of the situations that I've been dealt with. Very grateful for therapy, very grateful for my therapist. Granted, y'all, it is hard. It is very hard work. This is not for the light of heart. Sometimes you think of therapy as you just like go and talk for like an hour every week or every other week, and then magically your problems are solved. This is definitely by far the hardest thing I have ever done, and it continues to be the hardest thing I've ever done. When it comes to like work or school or like achievements or things like that, a lot of that, like, not that I haven't been challenged, but a lot of that stuff pretty easy for me. I'm a very curious person. I love learning. I love working hard. I love doing things. So that stuff has never really been that challenging for me. But like being vulnerable, talking about my feelings, unlocking what's going on in my brain and like processing all of that. So I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like it is like super easy, but it is also just like objectively one of the best things I've ever done for myself, despite it being very, very difficult. But again, I do think it is kind of thought about sometimes as this like band-aid that'll just immediately help. And I think especially for men too, I kind of speak to men because for most of my life I was a man or identifying as a man, and a lot of like the experiences and the traumas I have are related to living as a man, the pressures that men are faced with, and the cultural norms that men are taught and things like that. So I kind of, if I talk about myself and I'm talking about myself in like a male context, that is why. Still non-binary. However, I think a lot of men are told that they need to go to therapy. A lot of you do need to go to therapy if you're not, but I do think too, a lot of them are being told to just like do this, framed as it is kind of just like this easy thing. It is not a walk in the park, boys. It is not a walk in the park, men, especially for like a people group who as a whole have been told that suppressing your emotions is the way to go, and that you don't need to talk about things and you just need to be strong, you need to be pushed through. I think it takes like a lot of bravery and a lot of effort to like kind of break down those barriers. Not that that isn't the same way for women too, but I feel like there is a little bit more freedom afforded to women to like be emotional, show compassion, and be soft and be gentle. The cultural norms that I was taught when I was a young boy, it was just like, be aggressive, don't feel bad, don't cry, don't be a sissy, like stuff like that. That's not what I mean by that. And so it's been very grueling at times sometimes going through this therapy journey. And there's been a lot of times where I like will just wake up and I know it's the therapy day and I'm just like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to go to therapy. I don't want to like dig through all my trauma and dig up the worst moments of my life. Because too, there is kind of this aspect of it feeling like not fair, especially if you're someone who is going to therapy like I am for like specific like traumas, people doing you dirty, growing up in toxic environments, being surrounded by cultures and ideology that are inherently toxic and doing more damage than good. There is kind of a sentiment that it doesn't really feel fair that like me as the victim has to spend all this money and put all of this diligent work in every single week to like undo the damage that other people did. It'd be really nice if like the people who did the harm could go to therapy and somehow like I would feel better from that. But unfortunately that isn't the case until somebody invents that, and somebody needs to invent that, because y'all, I'm working hard and they need to work harder for doing all this harm to my brain. At the same time, it is very empowering having the ability to kind of take control of the narrative and take control of how I'm going to let these things that have happened affect me moving forward, how I'm going to manage them, how I'm going to allow them to be present in my life, so on and so forth, and not just letting them be lingering residual pain and drain and suffering of like situations that weren't in my control and I was on the receiving end of. So it's like pros and cons to it. But someone needs to invent that machine. Or at least the people that traumatize me need to start paying my co-pays. How about that? We'll meet them in the middle. But yeah, ultimately, going to therapy, best decision I've ever made. If you have the ability to do it, definitely would recommend doing it. Find somebody that's compatible with you who can really help you. I would stay away from like the BetterHelp and stuff, unless that's like the only resource that you have access to. I've heard a lot of shady stuff about BetterHelp and the dubious credentials that some of their quote unquote therapists have, because I've heard some wacky stuff about the therapists like not being certified, or the therapists like falling asleep in sessions, or like being really toxic and stuff. So if you have people that you can access either online or in person that like maybe aren't more on that platform, might be a good idea to do so. If this YouTube channel ever gets to the point where I'm doing sponsorships and you see me do a BetterHelp ad, you need to call me out and send some authorities over, because I have been body snatched. It is F BetterHelp for the rest of the time. Never going to be affiliated with BetterHelp. They're ops for sure. I don't know. BetterHelp tangent aside. Therapy, love it. Fantastic, wonderful. It's almost like going to the gym for your brain in a lot of ways, kind of. Or going to the gym for your emotions, rather, I guess I should say. It's like building all of these healthy skills and these healthy coping mechanisms rather than the stuff that I have kind of conditioned myself to do throughout childhood and teenage years and adulthood. Building out better skills and making sure my brain and my mental is fully equipped to like healthily handle situations, rather than just going back to like what I know and what is quote unquote worked in the past for me to varying degrees and to varying levels of toxicity and self-sabotage. So very highly recommended. Also feeling very good this week too, because the other day I went on a date, which was very, very fun. Me and my boyfriend went to the aquarium, which I was very excited about. He like planned the whole thing, picked me up, drove me there, and we explored the aquarium, which was very, very fun. I hadn't been to this aquarium in like probably a decade. And I don't think I've been to an aquarium since I lived in Rhode Island, and I went to like the Mystic Aquarium in Connecticut. So this was really, really cool. It was really neat, kind of just seeing all the exhibits and stuff. The aquarium near me too has a lot of really cool enclosures that the fish and the sea creatures and stuff are into, are really neat as well. So it's cool seeing all the little critters and stuff, but it's also kind of cool seeing the little environments they have set up. I got to touch some jellyfish. I got to almost touch a stingray. I put my hand in and then it swam away. And then I looked at the sign and saw that I wasn't supposed to be touching the stingray. So if you saw that, no, you didn't. They also have one of those shark tunnels, which I think a lot of aquariums have this now, but like a shark tunnel where you can go through this walkway and see all the sharks swimming over you and around you and stuff. That was so cool. Love a shark from afar. I don't mess with the creatures of the sea. I feel like we should not be messing with the sea. I like going to the beach and stuff, and I like swimming at the beach. I've been out in not even the deep ocean, but I've been out in the ocean a couple of times. But I have literally no interest in doing like the deep sea ocean stuff. I feel like we are not supposed to be there. I feel like there are things there are things going on that we are not supposed to access. I saw this video on TikTok the other day of this woman. I think she was like paddle boarding or something, and these 3 orca whales swam up to her. I would cry. I would pee my pants. I'd probably pass out because that is so scary. The creatures that are in there, they're like 40, 60, 100 feet long or whatever. No, no, we're not supposed to be in there. We're not supposed to be I feel like I'm sounding like conspiratorial, and I am purely just meaning that I am scared of like big sea creatures. Like, what are you supposed to do if like an 80-foot whale just swims up on you? Like, no, I enjoy the land and like 20 feet out from the shore. Anything other than that, I'm good. No, thank you. I'll pass on that. So that's why I like going to the aquarium. I can see all the creatures. Well, not that they have like anything that's that exotic other than like sharks, I guess. They didn't have any like big creatures that you would see in the ocean other than sharks. Everything else was like large river and lake fish, and then things in the ocean that are small, like jellyfish. But like the big stuff, like the orca whales and the big old sharks and all of that, no, I have no interest in seeing that. Not between a thick glass partition. That scares me. I feel like I can get enough enjoyment of that, seeing that at the aquarium or watching like Planet Earth or whatever. No interest in going out to the deep sea. I will pass on that. So if you see me out in the deep sea too, I guess it's BetterHelp ads. And if you see me out in the deep sea swimming or something, y'all know I have been swapped out and I have been duped and I am no longer here. How did this turn into a conversation about scary ocean creatures and I don't know, y'all. This is what I like about the nature of these Yap sessions. Because honestly, what we talk about is just as much of a surprise to me as it is to y'all sometimes. So I'm just here long rolling with the punches. But yes, enjoyed the aquarium a lot. It was very, very fun. It was nice getting out of my apartment too. So I don't really be out here doing that much stuff because of like COVID and trying to take precautions and trying to limit my exposure as much as possible. It's been a minute since I've gone out and done like an activity like that. I think we're gonna go to the zoo next at some time. If we can find like the off-peak hours, kind of like we did for the aquarium. Because even too, like COVID aside, which like that is the main priority, I just like don't want to be around a lot of people nowadays. Going to things where there's like more than like 50 people, that's just like too much for me. I don't know. Maybe once there's like a cure for COVID and this is all kind of over and I can kind of ease back into that, maybe I won't feel this way anymore. But even just like the concept of going to a giant music festival or a super crowded concert or anything like that anymore just doesn't seem fun to me anymore. I would much rather do more low-key things like going to the aquarium or going to the zoo. We'll see if I still feel that way in the next like 5-10 years or so. But right now I'm just not really feeling the vibe of going to big things. So that was a really, really fun, low-key sort of event. think with that, that's pretty much all I've got to say today. It was a little rambly, but that's why we're here. That's why we're yapping. That's what we enjoy. It is also very hot in my apartment right now. I think the high temperature is like 102 or something today. And y'all know I have the AC off when I record these, so I am getting sweatier and sweatier by the moment. So I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here because I do not want to be drenching and dripped in sweat in front of y'all. Y'all do not need to see that. Like I said before, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like. And if you want to yap with me every single Sunday, be sure to hit that subscribe button because it really does help me out quite a lot. Thank you so much for 400 subscribers, by the way. I think we're at like 401 now. That's really, really exciting. I really appreciate you all being here, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing that number grow and grow and continuing to make more and more videos and things like that. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all are having a nice day. Let me know below. Are you in therapy? Have you been therapized? Are you scared of big fish? Do you like the aquarium? Let me know something below. You can say whatever you want, I guess. But yeah, bye.